Blessed love and peace. We are still in the extended 24-hour period of me being online. So, I'm doing this joint because in the original joint that I recorded yesterday, I shared something. Um, the joint that I recorded that did not get recorded. I articulated something that I abstained from including within the second replacement or supplementary recording. So, it's basically something very simple, but then there's some additional things to add to it. And the basic joint was a metaphor. I mentioned before that in previous years we describe the conditions of society being that like of a speeding train going off, heading towards the edge of a cliff. And people on board just being oblivious, living it up, worrying about being in the further luxury cabins and otherwise. We abstain from utilizing that metaphor because at this point, the train is off the track. The train is off the cliff. The train is already in the midst of crashing. The train is, it's very, very unlikely of there being some kind of whatever of the train. It's off the cliff. It's in the free fall state at this point. So those on board, it's a matter of like finding parachutes, finding some kind of mechanism of getting out before explosion, crash, and all that other stuff. And even those who have already jumped off board and are still on the high ground of before the cliff, that's not even a guarantee either because there's toxic chemicals. There's toxic matter on the train, and the explosion poses significant concerns of pollution, contamination, and otherwise. So that's the situation at this point. In terms of applying that metaphor directly towards societal conditions, it's other than a matter of like trying to change the system or working through the government or working through investments, philanthropy, or whatever to do some kind of like systemic change or whatever. It's a matter of focusing on what's healthy and concentrating on healthy, working with the system, whatever, to concentrate on what's healthy. And as things unravel, just continuing to concentrate on the healthy and being disciplined, being devoted, being faithful, and ain't no guarantees, ain't no invincibilities, but that being the pathway through the tumultuousness. And as the hierarchies sort the hierarchy selves out, it's a matter of whoever perseveres through that process, having a need for for naturalists, for life, for life to be on Earth, for there to be healthy life on Earth, plants, insects, animals, as well as people, and the technologists is referred to needing naturalists. And I remember, I have to think if I shared this yesterday in the second recording, but naturalists who are devoted to like not trying to overthrow, not to trying to take over or otherwise, to be peaceful with life on Earth, to live in a disciplined, ethical way, and to be genuine with it, and to be effective, to have some proficiency in that, rather than just being a continual leech on whatever pervading authoritarian structure exists within civilized society. So the technologists need that relationship, need that foundation, need that rootedness in human collectives or humanoid collectives that have proficient, independent relationship knowledge of living directly with nature. So whoever prevails in that respect, in the immediate run as well as in the long run, has a vested need for in relationship with collectives that have proficient relationship with nature. So for those who have that inclination, it's a matter of being further knowledgeable, being further proficient, and then navigating through the diplomacy of these arrangements accordingly. That looks like village. It looks like living directly from the land, remembering, relearning, practicing the agriculture, being in relationship, having methods of community in terms of relationships, social relationships, marriage, reconciling of differences, security, basic things, and also having a practice, a proven record of not trying to overthrow, of not trying to replace any technologists, collectives, or otherwise. The technologists are on a trajectory of uber nano, of just getting smaller and smaller and smaller to the point of being like sentient matter, with circuitry, microscopic circuitry, habitating in the environment and habitating in the atmosphere, um, and further away from the Earth's surface, but at the same time having capabilities of influencing conditions within the Earth's surface where the rest of life predominantly lives on Earth. So, but at the same time, very much being dependent, being related, connected, and independent upon life that lives upon the surface of the Earth. So again, it's that symbiotic relationship, and amidst advanced sentient beings that are very different, advanced sentient species that are very different from each other. So that's some of what we described before. Um, and again, recognizing just like what the conditions are at this moment. See if there's anything else before I do that. And like this is not gonna be long. Let's do some fajr. Let's talk respectfully about salat, and also davening and prayers and samadhi today, God willing. So, um, recognizing the severity, as I mentioned before, concerning the religious leaders, it's not a matter of the artificial, superficial boxes of us versus them, along the lines of ethnicity and religion. It's a matter of who's practicing the righteousness, regardless of what their set is. Who is practicing the righteousness? Because the it's we're dealing with benevolence and malevolence at this point. Ain't nobody greater than anybody else, but it's the corruption and malfeasance, corruption and uh, bad things, um, that is confronting compassion and benevolence, altruism, um, balance. So those are the lines, and any religious leader that's speaking otherwise, exactly suspect. What are they on? Who's backing them? Where are they getting their money from? What's their connections to the weapons manufacturers? Where are their financial holdings? And additionally, whose pocket are they in? Suspect. Any religious leader, Jewish, Muslim, Christian, Buddhist, Hindu, Taoist, Sikh, Baha'i, indigenous, any religious leader, even any ethnic leader that is talking those lines of arbitrariness, suspect, because then they're drawing attention away from the essential issues of just being honest, of being fair, of being chaste, meaning having respectful relationship, communication, interaction with women, between men and women, being sober, and otherwise. That's the essential issues. That's the essential conversation. And anybody who's not talking about that, suspect. Anybody who's not calling out the corruption within one's own community. Again, the pedophilia, the cannibalism, the violence, the trafficking, sexual exploitation, human trafficking and enslavement, oppressing others into indebtedness and enslavement based upon indebtedness, and living hand to mouth, paycheck to paycheck. That's slavery. Any religious leader who's not talking about these things, suspect. And peace and blessings to all. Everyone's a child of God. Everyone is wrestling with the devil. And anyone who's saying otherwise, suspect. Science, that's denying God and denying these supernatural phenomena. Suspect. Closing eyes, pretending. It's a limited mindset. It's a limited awareness. It's a limited capability of dealing with what's going on. If just doing the observation, performing the scientific method, evidencing the unevidenceable. Go to every culture on this earth. Every culture on this earth for thousands of years speaks and is engaged with phenomena that exist beyond the senses. There's the evidence right there. Pervasive, overwhelming evidence. There is something that exists beyond what we can evidence, beyond what we can measure. Science does amazing things with the discoveries through the senses, and all of it is still limited. So, to speak otherwise, suspect. Now, we talk about the elections and this and the other. Again, like Bob Marley, we don't care if it's the JLP or the PNP. Makes a little difference. We do draw people's attention again to the fact that the governments and the billionaires are bribing people just to participate. Bribery, paying people to vote. And they say, oh, but we're not telling people what to vote for, whatever, we just want them to be active. You're paying people, whether it's free rides on the bus for the day to go to elections, whether it's random contests to win $1 million or whatever, bribing people to participate. That just is extreme evidence of the corruption and the desperation of the system itself. It's plain as day. It's not even for people who have eyes to see and ears to hear. It's for anybody who's just paying attention. So, one other thing we say on those lines, and this is not hate, this is not shade. We're not trying to throw over anything. We work diligently for the well-being of all kinfolk, and that involves having some kind of awareness of what's happening. We're not perfect. We're not immune from the conditions. We're just speaking on it. So, one thing we share is also for somewhat next level type of observation that's less obvious. Just recognizing either way, either scenario. It's we're not trying to prognosticate this, because when we say something, then we're conjuring elements to work to the contrary, to disprove whatever we say or whatever. So we're not concerned about, we're not trying to be saying this is what's going to happen, whatever else, but just observing the conditions and understanding the nature of people, the nation, the nature of society. In the advent of Kamala Harris being elected in the theater, in the script or whatever, recognizing that world democracy, and particularly the democracy of the United States, is a false wolf pack. What does that mean? The face of, like the interior face, the interior surface level of democracy is one where women are substantially empowered, because men agree with each other not to be number one. And so the nature of that is such that women, particularly through generations, and particularly with further education and otherwise of how the system works and everything, become increasingly empowered. And there becomes a wolf pack type of mentality, where there are these head she-wolves who are the leaders, matriarchs of collectives of men, and the men are able to abide by the woman's authority and acquiesce to it, because they're not acquiescing to another man's authority. So it's less emasculating. And particularly when circumstances are prosperous, there's security, there's food and shelter and prosperity, then like men are further resigned or inclined or whatever prone to agree to those terms and acquiesce that masculine feline headline kind of role for the sake of the canine subordinate male role to the higher matriarch. The reason, so there are all these wolf packs with head matriarchs who are leading these men who are not alpha men but pretend to be alpha men because there's an absence of an actual official alpha man. And the alpha man who's elected for the moment, there's an understanding, okay, that's just the elected alpha man. It's going to be somebody else different, so we can tolerate that. It's the imagination. It's the game that's being played. It's somewhat of a pimp game, but that's the game. So the men acquiesce increasingly immediately to a matriarch, and then and the matriarch doesn't have to necessarily be boss dogging it all the time or whatever, but that's what it is. But it's a false wolf pack because the matriarchs actually acquiesce to the precipitators of and the inheritors of the democracy, the democratic scenario, the democratic system. Meaning that the democratic system is established by men who are corrupted. You can call it, say, Bante Boy, or otherwise, but men who've gotten a lot of knowledge, who have been excluded from the preceding hierarchical constructs, and so devise a methodology of overthrowing intelligently through intelligence, through intellect, intellectual strategizing, overthrowing the preceding authoritarian construct, and colluding with each other, and through that collusion being able to do things that a monarch is unable to do, having a knowledge about technology, a knowledge about economics, knowledge about diplomacy and politics, knowledge about agriculture, and sharing that. But it's a corrupted cipher. That's comparatively secluded, hidden, say clandestine or whatever, and that's what's running the thing. That's what the U.S. Constitution is. That's what a republic is. That's what a corporation is. A collusion amongst corrupted men. Often it's homosexual, sodomous, or otherwise, but it's a cipher. It's a cipher of corrupted men who are not about traditional family and otherwise. It's about power control over others. So that's what it is, and then hiring puppets to play the part or otherwise of the leader, the official figurehead or whatever, and then directing the matriarchs. That's where the thing is. The matriarchs bow down. The matriarchs acquiesce to the corrupted cipher. That's where the matriarchs get the information. That's where the matriarchs get support and additionally and protections. But it's extremely quiet because the men within the matriarchs collective can't have much of an idea or awareness about the matriarchs being subservient to the corrupted cipher, because then that would impinge upon the men's sense of independence and masculinity and otherwise. It would obliviate the imagination of independence and self-sovereignty in that methodology of democracy. So the matriarchs have to be very mindful and careful about revealing how much the matriarchs actually abide by the guidance of the corrupted cipher of corrupted men. So that's how it works. Basically, that's what we observe to the best of our knowledge and awareness. However, again, there's limitations even to that. The fact that entities like billionaires and governments are paying people to continue participating in that is evidence of that. There's something else along these lines, but rather than harping on that, I'm just going to go into the next part of this, which is talking about the demons and the sign of like the day is beginning. How about that? So we got to do prayer and meditation. Um, um, so we're talking about demons and we're talking about Monopoly. Okay, so we'll talk about Monopoly first. So when this is what we talked about before, in terms of like the democratic system in addition, we're not hating on democracy, just recognizing this is the preceding superpower, and with any superpower, that's where the mass of the corruption and atrocities are being committed. So that's just the target of attention. Um, so in any game, it's like Monopoly. Um, when children are playing Monopoly, everybody begins basically with the same elements or whatever. Eventually, at some point in the game, there's one person or there may be a few people that have all the hotels, all the houses, all the property, all the money, everything. But that's not the fun part of the game. Winning the game is not the fun part because then it's over. The fun part of the game is keep playing and being able to control people in that game and saying, "Oh no, it's okay. You can have a free pass here. Just keep on playing. Oh no, I'll pay for you to get out of jail. That's okay. You can just keep on playing. No, let's keep on playing. You can still do something. Like you can get over them over there. I'll tell you what. If you do this next time around, I'll give you a house. How about that? I'll sublet to you. You can share crop on the property. People make all these arrangements that are not equitable, but are just designed to keep people playing the game. Cats are like, yo, let's go play some mahjong. Let's go play some bones. Let's play dominoes. Let's play some spades. Let's play some backgammon. Let's play some Uno. Let's play some other game. No. Let's keep on playing this. Let's keep on playing this. It's fun. No, let's go play some basketball. Let's go play some football, some rugby. Let's do something else. No. Just keep playing this game. That's where democracy is at this point. Just keep playing this game. Or we'll pay you. We'll pay you $1 million. What is $1 million going to get you today? One college degree for one child for 4 years, and then what? So anyway, that's again just the sign of where things are, in a way that people might be able to further relate to. Running up the score in a game. Oh, no, let's change the teams. Let's start over again. No. Let's keep playing this one. I like this one. So that's society, world society at this point. And the United States is just the forefront of the democratic tyranny. Anyways, let's stop getting too hype about that. But the other thing also is this, to recognize that, as I said before, the binary or the conflict at this moment, it's not rich against poor. It's not black against white. It's not any religion against any other religion. It's not country against country or nation against nation. It is demons versus angels. That's what is being experienced at this moment. And just to give it some perspective about like the conditions today, I said the Kamala Harris scenario, if she wins. So I didn't finish that though. So I talked about it being a false wolf pack. So in that false wolf pack, the matriarchs are acquiescing to the corrupted cipher of corrupted men. But the thing about that is that in that imagination, each of the matriarchs, just like with the men being able to maintain their own semblance of like being number one, the alpha male, the matriarchs are able to maintain some type of convincing from the words of the corrupted, the cipher of corrupted men, able to maintain some type of imagination of being the alpha woman. Oh, the only person above, the only beings above, are these corrupted men, all these other matriarchs and all these other wolf mothers, Moors. Yeah, we'll continue to compete and see what happens. But each woman considers herself to be the top one. However, here's the thing: in a democracy where the top democratic collective, aka the USA, the United States, elects a woman to be officially the leader. Hora, jealousy, the nature of women, is a different thing. It's a different beast than the nature of man. Um, so where, I mean, it's unprecedented. People say, well, there are women presidents here and there, Deutschland and Latin states, and additionally in Iberian colonies. That's not the epitome. That's not the hierarchy of world democracy. So um, there's a concern about a short circuiting of women, just short circuiting, if not immediately, at some point. And we're not wishing this. We're not prognosticating this. We're just observing the conditions, the nature of things. And so one matriarch having to submit, even just by protocol, to another female, that's short circuiting that imagination of collusion with the corrupted ciphers. We could say ciphers too. So that's one concern in that scenario of Kamala Harris being elected. Now, in the scenario of Donald Trump being elected, again, like the evidence or the signs are right there. Three, at least from our knowledge, and I'm online once a week, and I don't watch news and social media too tough, but I'm informed of there being three separate concerns of assassination attempts on Donald Trump. One where his ear is shot, one where a person is found, and then the third one where there was some kind of planning that was found. So, point being is that almost seems like a world record of assassination attempts on a campaign for a presidential election. And at some point, it's a matter of like something's happening with Donald Trump, and it's not even something that's happening with Donald Trump, but like something's happening around Donald Trump. And that's when people who have that knowledge and literacy about like demons and being manifested, and additionally, is recognizing like, and to give it some context, here's where we're going with this. To give it some context, it's a matter of being aware of like the nature of being at those top, at that height of conventional hierarchy of the leadership and conventional or earthly power. It gets shaky. The altitude, the air is thin. It's not easy to live. Anybody. And there are continual challenges. And these challenges manifest in comparatively inexplicable ways that lend themselves to be accused of being conspiracies by these hidden entities or whatever else. But it's a matter of understanding that it's like demons manifesting in the guise of human earthly beings and otherwise. And this sounds like crazy talk, particularly to the science secularist. But here we go. First of all, it's a matter of having some kind of experience in that hierarchy to know what's going on. Again, there's evidence. People have given their testimony in witnessing this, reading the scriptures from around the world, talking about this. It's the same phenomenon that kills Bob Marley, Dag Hammarskjöld, Tupac, Haile Selassie, JFK, the World Trade Center, even COVID, and additionally, it's demons manifesting. When Bob Marley is shot at Hope Road and survives that occasion, he's asked an interview. There's a recording of it. He's asked an interview. Who do you think it was? Do you think it was the PNP? You think it was the JLP? What's your take on it? And Bob Marley says, I think it was the devil. And people might think, oh, that's just like hype talk. It's hyperbole. It's exaggeration. Oh, it's amusing. Oh, he's being theatrical, and otherwise. No. Duppy Conqueror. Do you listen to the lyrics? Duppy Conqueror. Do you know the story behind the song? Duppy Conqueror. What is a Duppy? Evil spirit that infects people, and they get out their minds. And brethren know that person. Yo, I know that person. I know that brethren. I know what they are. And right now, that's not them. That's not them. It looks like them. It sounds like them. It talks like them. It has some semblance of them, but that's not them. Science can turn a blind eye to that and ignore the evidence. But then science is not being science itself. That's not them. So it's a matter of understanding that when people get into that higher echelon of like the earthly powers, whether that's money, whether that's fame and celebrity, whether that's politics, military, business, sport, or whatever, they get further into that realm of wrestling with the demons. So it's not some conspiracy. It's not white folk. It's not any Ku Klux Klan or CIA or COINTELPRO, or it's not any Illuminati or whatever else. It's kinfolk getting further immersed in the realm of wrestling with the demons, and the demons get bigger and stronger and smarter the higher one goes. And at some point, particularly when kinfolk are going fast, they haven't trained to wrestle with all those demons. When it's a first generation person who's emerging into another realm of society, haven't had all that training since birth of how to deal with those demons. And so at some point, the Miami Sound Machine is coming to mind. Rhythm's gonna get you. That's a nasty thing, but that's the nature. With peace and blessings to all kinfolk of this earth, of all spirits of this earth. Bob Marley was breaking into the U.S. market, sharing the message of Jah live amongst black folk in the masses of American society. Already a cult following amongst European kinfolk, but just breaking into the scene and shaking up the system. And kinfolk say, well, yeah, and the system got him. The system poisoned him, da-da-da-da-da. No, it's beyond the system. It's beyond government. He was getting into another realm of wrestling with demons. The corruption and the malaise and the disease in the human condition. And he himself is other than perfect, himself having all the training of blessed memory, peace and blessings be with Bob Marley and all his progeny, all his family and kinfolk. He wrestles with bigger demons in a fast way. Young, Bruce Lee, young demons. So beyond the conspiracies, beyond the Illuminatis, beyond the government, CIA, FBI, all that. Malcolm X, Al-Hajj Malik Al-Shabazz, demons. Wrestling with demons and doing it dolo. Huge demons. He was already in it and then did a solo career. Demons. It wasn't the nation. Demons. And that's people don't want to think about that in today's society, for by and large, because the science vernacular says, oh, that's crazy talk. But that science turning blinders to the vast evidence of that which is not evidenceable, particularly for science's own purposes, because acknowledging something that exists beyond the evidenceable undermines the power hold that science has. But eventually that's undermined anyways. And for it to endure in any kind of strong semblance, it's actually necessary for science to acknowledge, like, you know what, there might be something to this. What is that Dalai Lama talking about? Why are you so happy? What is happy? Why do we think we can measure that? And why do we want to be that so much? How do we get that? I know everything about everything already. in science, and we're still unsatisfied. Why is that? All this pollution that's being caused in the process. How can we do better? I just want to feel, I want to feel free. I want to feel healthy. I want to feel natural. I want to feel me. I want to feel God. I want to feel truth. I want to feel innocence. I want to be that. How can I return? Teshuvah, Dharma, Metta, Hallelujah, Upendo na Amani.